You are live whenever you want to start.
Okay, then we will call the meeting to order. Today is March 1st, 2021. It's the Zoning Board of Appeals for the town of Victor. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
Yes, we're all.
Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the approval of the February 1st, 2021 minutes. Entertain a motion for approval.
I make the motion.
Thank you, Fred. A second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Donna. Any corrections, concerns?
No,
One that I saw.
Okay, good. Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, we have 4 applications. 1 is a carryover, 3 are new. For our new applicants, just to give you a quick overview, the general path that we're going to follow is we'll give the applicant an opportunity to make the presentation. Then the board will be asking questions. If there are exhibits that you're pointing to or like to discuss, feel free, take your time. But when you're looking at exhibits and referring to them, especially since we're doing this virtual, do the very best you can to describe as far as compass directions or locations so that, that when create the record, it's as clear as we possibly can be that we all know what you're talking about. And then if there are public comments, we'll take those. There are 2 of the applicants that need to go to the county planning board for referral, and we'll get to that once we get to the those particular applications. Also, when we're creating a record, it's going to be important, especially since we have so many here, is to do our very best not to talk over each other. So if you would wait for the question to be asked, and we won't interrupt you and talk over you, so that again, the record is as clear as we possibly can make it. All right, so first we will be talking about the carryover. This is the 6485 break of day applications, Brent Jones and Lacey Pollock. I see Alice here. You moved your box on me. Okay, so a quick review.
Wouldn't know how to do that.
I don't either. So just a quick review here where we were the last application. There is a septic system hurdle that we're dealing with. Apparently there were some perk tests that were made. The lot is relatively small. There's also the issues of the topographical issues and the placement of that. There is a trail that runs behind the property. It's not, at least where your proposed house is going to be, it's not encroaching on the easements. There was some discussion about the trees would buffer the house. There is no sewer on that road. And I believe, Ally, you indicated that, and it has been staked out. It went to the county planning board, and there was some notation and comments that they had about requesting 3 suitable perk tests that would be recommended, and then the municipal engineer would have to review it. But it's my understanding that Al had indicated that since it's a raised bed, it's really not going to be a concern. And let's see, Marty, are you with us yet, Marty?
He was having some computer issues. He said just a second.
I'm just
don't
letting
think
him in now.
Okay,
Good.
all right. Marty, there you are.
I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, so we were just going over the break of day application and talking about the county planning board comments and the issue about the requesting 3 suitable perk tests. And there was some discussion that I believe you and Al had, or if you would get us up to speed, that since it's a raised bed, the need for the 3 perk tests really wouldn't be necessary. So could you touch on that a little bit so we're not, if you will, spinning our wheels?
Sure. So a conventional septic system would typically require at least 3 perk holes, and that's why there was, I think, something of 40 or upward that were on this job. None of which passed, but I think 2, and so that actually necessitates a raised bed system. All systems would need to be engineered, designed by a design professional, stamped by a PE, and then that would be inspected and witnessed by the town engineer as well. So for this particular system, it's a raised bed system because they couldn't pass 3 perk holes, and by definition then will be a engineered system, which will be looked at by 2 separate engineering firms, the town engineer and then whoever the applicant's engineer is.
The Ontario County Health Department will also be looking at this.
Correct.
State Health is requiring that they sign off on it.
So Al, would you be comfortable if the zoning board decided to grant the variance is to have a condition that the town engineers would review the raised bed as well as verification that the, you said the county health department approved it?
No, not a problem at all. We expect that.
Okay.
The next step is to go to for planning, site engineering and approvals of the site plan. So comes with it the approvals of the town engineer. State Health.
Marty, would that satisfy the town then if the town engineer approved it as well as the county health department approved it as a condition to this variance if it were granted?
Yeah, absolutely. Typically, if it's something outside of the normal scope, we'll refer it onto the town engineer. In this case, we would. So yes, that would.
Okay, great. All right. Al, is there anything else that you want to add to the application to help the board understand what this is about?
No, I think you've got a pretty good understanding of it. It's a very difficult lot, to say the least. And we talked about that the first time. So, and we've got everything where it's got to be. If this is, whoops, what's happening? Oh, there it is. If we're going to go forward, we're pretty much where we are. And I think has everybody had a chance to go out and take a look at the location of the house? Because I know we put the front corners in. And
I saw 1 stake. Were there more than 1? I was there a couple times.
there were 2 stakes that we set.
I guess I didn't see the second one. I think I probably saw the easternmost one.
Yeah, probably. And mitigating this a little bit is that group of trees to the east side that are in red, you'll see there.
Yeah.
So, and we're back from the road 31 to 35 feet from the pavement. You know, the setback is what it is. I mean, we're as far back with the house as we can go and still put that septic in an area that can be approved and will be approved by the state health.
Brad, do you have any other questions?
No, I don't. I've read all the documents and I've been there twice. And each time I wish it wasn't so close to the road. I don't know.
And we agree with that. That's not a question. It's,
And I'm afraid that there will be others and we'll have to grant setback. We give it to this applicant and the next one, I have to treat everybody the same. Kind of pains me because it's a nice lot. But that's all for me now.
yeah, it's a nice lot. If we could have gotten some perk tests that in a little different area, but boy, this one, I've never failed perk test yet, but this one almost got me. And to get two was, I wasn't sure we were going to be able to get it to perk at all. And it's some tough soil right there. So yeah, we feel we'd rather not have the house that close, but everything is determining where that house is gotta go,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Donna, any questions?
None, thank you.
Sarah?
No, I'm actually fine with the way it's been presented, and if you add the condition for the septic approval, then I'm good with the way it is.
Matt, any questions?
No, I agree with Fred. I feel though like the applicants tried everything they can. And there isn't really much else they can do to make this work. So I'm okay with it.
Okay. All right. Susie, is there anybody that you can tell that want to make any comments on this particular application? For public
there are-
comment?
There are no comments.
Okay, great. All right, then. Then let's run through the criteria. First, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created by granting of the area variance. It appears not that both February 1st and today's discussion that the engineer has done everything that they can do, at least to try and figure out where to put that septic system, as well as to try and put the house there. There is no water, at least present, that they can use. It's a small lot. There's topo issues that give the placement of septic system a bit of a problem. There is a trail that runs behind the house it's a town easement, but however, both the septic system is not encroaching on the easement. There are trees that will buffer the location of the proposed house. Applicant has staked out the location, while the county planning board had initially commented and indicated that 3 perk tests would be required or should be required and reviewed by the engineer. After discussion with our code enforcement officers, that since it's a raised bed, that it would be satisfactory as a condition to this variance that the town engineer would approve it, as well as the approval of the health department. Would anyone else like to add anything else to the first criteria? Hearing nothing, we'll proceed on to the second, is whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. As previously discussed, the size of the lot gives this a bit of a problem. So the short answer here is going to be is no, there really isn't any other feasible way to do this. There needs to be a septic system there. The location of the septic system is primary, and then the house will go in front of it.
Can I say something here while we're on this? I wish I'd brought it up earlier.
Okay, what do you want? What do you
Well,
got, Fred?
30 years ago, I fixed over a single house into a double, and there was no space. It was a tiny little lot. And at that time, I put in 2 pits. They were about 10, 11, 12 feet deep and 6 or 8 feet in diameter. Concrete blocks laid up sideways with stone on the outside. Because they were small, Al and Marty, is that a outside possibility anymore?
Seepage pits, that's what you're talking about, and you need good underlying soil for seepage pits,
Yeah, I
So-
had that there.
and it's not good here at all down.
It goes that deep then, huh?
Oh, no, it's very difficult soils all the way down to
Okay.
about 7 feet, I think we went. And so it's no possibility here.
My conscience is clear then.
Okay, you all set, Fred?
Yep.
All right, then continuing on with the second criteria, as discussed further, that there is not a feasible approach for this particular applicant to pursue other than an area variance. Would anyone else like to add anything else to the second criteria? The third being the required area variance is substantial. The requested area variance, they're 40 feet of a front setback is required, and they're requesting 18 and a half feet. By just numbers itself, more than 20 feet. I would consider that to be substantial.
So do
If
I.
anyone would like to comment or add anything on the third criteria? Fourth, whether the proposed area variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. I think it should be noted that it's not. I think the engineer has conveyed and presented to this board that everything has been done that's feasibly possible to place that septic system in the most logical and, if you will, strategic area. Anyone else want to add anything to the fourth criterion? Fifth being whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the board, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of an area variance. In this instance, it is self-created. It is what you're asking for, but it doesn't necessarily preclude the granting of the variance. As a proposed condition, it will be that the town engineer will approve the raised bed septic system, as well as the health department will need to have approved it in writing and on file with the town clerk. Would anyone else like to add any other conditions or comments to the proposed variance? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion for approval with the noted conditions.
I'll
make
motion for the
the
approval. Sorry, there's a
Okay.
delay. I'll
Everybody
second.
at once.
I'll
All
second.
right. All right, Sarah, that was you. All right, so Sarah made a motion, Matt second. Any further discussion? Very good. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed?
I'm opposed. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Be sorry.
All right, the variance has been granted with the proposed conditions. Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're very welcome, Al. Good luck to you. Stay safe out there.
Take care. Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, next is 630 Burke Hollow. This would be Linda Robbins. I know, there you are. Hi.
Hello.
All right, just bear with me a second. I gotta get out of this screen and there you are. Okay, this is for a pergola. 15 feet side setback is required and you're requesting 10 feet?
That's right.
Okay. The application seems to indicate that you're looking for some privacy. It's going to be on the east side of the lot. There's an existing septic system in the leach field that you don't want to encroach on that. There's also some tree and vegetation that you don't want to disturb. And I think there's also a note that there's an existing pool.
There is not an existing pool. It's to be built.
Oh, it's to be built. Okay. So I know that there was a survey that indicated, and that would be my mistake. I thought the pool was already in place. So when it says there, the 16 by 40 pool, that's a proposed pool, correct?
That is a proposed pool, and the pool contractor would be the one doing the prep work for the pergola, the footers in the area being requested.
Great. Okay, just a quick question here. What's the acreage on the property?
Hold on.
1.4.
1.4, I believe.
Okay. All right, very good. So, other than what's on your application, if you want to summarize that, that's fine. If you want to touch on a few other things, that's fine too. So,
Just basically that we looked at it from various different angles and the primary concern was putting the pool and the pergola for the most privacy without affecting the natural barrier that exists around our property. We like it. And there is to the southern edge of our property is the Auburn, is it the Auburn Trail?
Yes.
So to the southern edge of our property is the Auburn Trail. To the eastern side is for the most part a vacant field. The only thing within the sight line of the pool and the pergola is like a utility barn on the neighboring property, but no other neighboring properties would have a sight line to either the pool or the pergola.
Apparently true.
Oh, and well, certainly, yes. And so preventing us from moving farther west is the septic and leach field that we don't want to disturb. We did have the contractor out, the original contractor who installed that system 5 years ago. You should have a photo in your documents that is taken facing the house from the rear of the yard that shows where he designated would be a no dig zone. Yep, that's it right there. So looking at the house there, left is going to be west, and that is where the leach field is. That's what we're considering a no dig zone, so that we have that 20-foot setback from that. And to the east of that, or to the right on that photo, is going to be the proposed pool, and then to the east of that is the pergola, if that makes sense.
I wondered what that picture was supposed to be.
I didn't label it very well. I think I had talked to Alan Benedict about it, but that's what that is.
okay. Fred, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. I think it's okay with me, the way it is.
Sarah, do you have any questions?
I just want to verify the side setback that you're going for, is it 5 or 10 feet from your property line?
We are requesting 10 feet. And
Oh, okay.
And if you need, I can clarify as to why. Under
Okay.
the pergola, if we have any kind of a lounge chair, those are typically 6 to 7 feet depending, and we want safe area around
It.
the pool.
So for
Okay.
clarification, are you wanting the pergola to be built 10 feet from your property line, or 5 feet? You're asking for 10, so I just
We're
want
asking for 10, yes.
You're asking for 10, but does that mean that the pergola, you like it within 5 feet of the side property line, or 10
Let me
feet?
see how he has it built,
I
the
think this is
contractor.
5
I
feet.
think it's 5 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
If you-
do I.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a 10-foot variance, but you need 5 feet.
exactly.
Correct.
I didn't want to cut somebody off. Sarah, were you asking questions, or are you done?
I'm all set. That's all I needed. Thank you.
Okay, Donna, questions?
None, thank you.
Matt, questions?
Is there an existing fence, or do you expect any variances associated with the pool? Do you think this is all you need for your project?
Yeah, there's no variance needed for the fence or the pool.
Okay. Have you looked at considered a smaller area for the pergola, or is it?
Well, if you go any smaller than that, you're not going to have the area to safely like traverse around like lawn, like chairs and such before you get to the pool. That was it. Just trying to look at that so that it's safe.
Okay. Have you talked to any of your neighbors about it? Is there any concern in the neighborhood, or?
We have not gotten any concern. I did call and they I think Ed Lecision, the one neighbor, sent something to Kimberly via email, I believe, saying he had no issues. The other neighbor, which is on our same street, Mr. Buffin, also expressed no concern. Nobody else has responded with any concern. We let them know and invited feedback.
I'm okay. Thank you.
What I'm curious on where the proposed pool is going to go and where the proposed pergola is going to be, I guess I'm at a loss of why you need it to be so far to the east, why you can't move it 5 feet, 10 feet closer to the pool without encroaching the pool and not needing a variance, or for that matter, in the other direction, going in a southerly direction and not encroaching in on the septic system. Can you explain that a little more on why it needs to be so far?
Sure, sure. We can't move it farther south. There's a tree there. I mean, we'd really like to not move any of the trees. Or if you want to pull up the instrument survey with the sketch, maybe I can help and be more clear. Okay, so I'm having trouble seeing it. So talking about to the southern, I lost my bearing here. It says, hold on. So looking at southerly, we've got the Auburn Trail there, and we've got a tree line there. We'd like to make it so that nothing is visible to that trail, first of all, and to maintain privacy. And between the trail, I mean, there's an upward bank to our yard, and then there's a tree, a nice size ornamental tree that we don't want to move if we don't have to. So that's to the south. And if you're looking at the eastern side, you can see where the pool contractor has. Okay, so you see where the leach field is, and we're right there at 20 feet, which is where we need to be. But on the other side of it, and I don't know how to explain this, maybe you can help me. There's going to be a set, I think he shows it on there, that there's an upward bank. How do I say this?
So, yeah, so let me try to explain it a little better. So where we started from actually was a leach field, which are the diagonal lines up in the upper part of the document. From there, we had to work 20 feet from the leach field to make sure that the pool, had the correct distance from the leach field, based on what we were advised. So once the pool goes in, on the other side of the pool, there's actually some topography where the side of the property actually goes up a little bit by about 2 to 3 feet. So it'd be very difficult to build a kind of a flat surface over that topography, because it varies probably by about 3 to 4 feet. And so by setting it back, it's on a level surface closer to the property, or closer to the lot line.
Right. Could we do this? There was an aerial shot that you had, and the survey really doesn't show the topography of it. That one.
Okay.
So right now I'm on. Honestly, I don't know if it's Bing or Zillow. It's a really, it's a better, all due respect, aerial of what you have because it shows the trees, the vegetations and all. So I'm trying to get at here is if you can use the cursor. No, you don't have the cursor. But I'm trying to figure out which trees that you're talking about and why the Auburn Trail is coming in any kind of consideration for where you want that pergola to be.
How do I, okay, so
Oh,
you
let's
see,
do one at a time. So the Auburn Trail, looking at that map is right where that arrow is, right? Going up and down. Can you see that? But
yes,
your pergola isn't going to be anywhere near the Auburn Trail. So why is that important?
the only reason we put a note on the application was that we want to maintain the buffer and the privacy. We wouldn't want to put a pool or a pergola back in the back part of our property. Does that make sense? Because you can hear people walking up and down that trail.
Sure.
You can see them.
Plus you
Sure.
have right next to
But
it.
where, all right,
You wouldn't want it near there, but yeah, that's the only reason.
sure, I'm not trying to, micromanage the thing, but where the proposed pergola is going, so are you telling me that it can't go 5 feet further west or, away from that
There's a,
property?
I'm
That's just
sorry.
not possible.
No, because there's a slope right there. And so when you look at that yellow line that your cursor was just on, so right along there, that is higher than as you go west. So there's actually going to be a couple steps going down. So does that make sense? So you're hitting level land.
Okay.
Does
So
that make sense?
I think so. So
Okay.
hopefully with our snow melt that we've been having, I can see, I know you're laughing. I can see some of my grass. Hopefully you can see some of yours.
Very little.
Right. So this application has to go to the county planning board for referral. While they're doing what they need to do, we'll see you again April 1st. But in the meantime, if you could help us, hopefully there's going to be a nice day. But today would not be a good day. A little warmer. If you go back maybe and take some color photos of and stake it out just so that you can tell us, hey, this is where the proposed pool is going to be. Here's the proposed pergola, and there's the slope of the land. So now we can see it more of a 3D type of image on what it is that you're talking about, because the photographs that and aerial that you have make it a little hard for us to figure out with all that land, why can't you move that pergola? Because I think you've heard in the prior application, there's a feasibility issue. Is it feasible for you to put the pergola some other place?
Right.
And it comes down to the needs and wants. But maybe those photographs I think will help us to, you showing that the slope of the land and the location of the pool, it's really, that's the best place for the pergola to go. That makes sense?
Yeah, my concern is I don't know if I can capture the gradual sloping of that part of the yard, because I didn't, even after living here, realize that that would be an issue until we spoke to the pool contractor, and he's like, well, you see that there's a slope here and we need to work with that. So what I might ask instead, I mean, I will take the photos, but maybe, and I don't know if he's willing or if he has an answer to this, but if he can describe it to you, and or if he has some photo evidence or, I mean, I know he's employed drones. I don't know if that works. I don't know if that's.
All right. How about, with the photos, maybe if you write a little something up to say, the location is the best place because.
Got it.
If he puts in some, again, some information for us, say the topography is difficult if it moves south or whatever the direction might be. So these are, as we're building that record, as I indicated in the front end of the meeting, that's how this board really functions, is weighing all the facts and how does it fit into the criteria. Well, if we see that you've done your homework, and it really doesn't make a lot of sense that, you don't want to encroach on the leach field. That makes absolutely no sense at all. Then you don't want to go too close to the Auburn Trail. We get that. But just trying to hone in on it is, can that pergola be moved any further? I think the direction would be west or approximately west the trees and things like that. So anything that you can do in the meantime, I think would help us out understand what your application's all about.
Okay. I think we can do that for you.
Great, great. We'll just circle around a little bit. Don, any other questions that you have?
Thank you.
Brad, any other questions before
Well,
we?
could the map, the drawn survey map come back up? There's something between the pool and the pergola I'd like to ask about. That's it there now. At the corner of the pool, that would be the northeast corner, is a box.
Yeah, is
And
that,
then there's another box. It looks like a set of steps going down. What is the bigger of those boxes?
okay, so,
Does that matter?
okay, that might actually help us with showing you the other previous question. See those steps he has just sketched in there? That's showing you the elevation going up to that, where that pergola is going to be, so that we can get the even elevation.
The steps are the smaller box,
Right
right where the cursor is now.
let me see. Can I make that bigger?
That is one thing.
Oh,
about-
no. Okay, so that, is that the,
Oh, that's a small.
that's, okay, so that is a spa, and that is 15 feet from the main residence. So if you,
Okay,
that's the
what's
back
that?
corner of our house.
Then
So
what's the,
so the larger rectangle is a pool, and there's a
No,
spa,
right here.
there's a spa situated in the corner on the upper left.
what is it just to the east of that that's got an enclosed line right there with steps down? What is that?
That's, wait a minute, am I confused?
It looks like it's a patio.
You're talking about around it?
I'm
It's
trying-
labeled patio.
I think that's
That is a
what-
patio surface area.
The pergola couldn't go over next to that?
That would be right in the smack dab middle of our yard. So aesthetically, we would be kind of dividing the yard into two. And so looking out of the house, you would have something almost blocking the dividing the two sides of your yard. Does that make sense? Aesthetically, it would be,
Well, I'll say yes, but it looks to me like where it is kind of splitting the yard up anyway. Some on one
We'd have
side,
to
some on
dimension-
the
I'd
other.
have to remember what the dimensions are.
let me see. So do you see the, so there's a,
The question he's asking is why you wouldn't put it right here. But I think,
I don't
I
think-
think that dimension too small, and it's right next to the pool, but we'd have to.
I think what you're looking at, if I'm understanding it, so you're saying, why can't we move that whole thing right
If we-
there?
Right, if there can be a deck, why can't there be a pergola?
That's where the pergola will be, is up on that elevated portion. So where you see those steps off to, am I not seeing this correct?
No, that's right.
Okay, so you see those little steps? There's like a landing right there, and right there, exactly right there is where we wanted to put the pergola.
Well,
So-
isn't the pergola the larger rectangle to the east of that? Right there, right there where the cursor
Sorry.
is? Isn't
No,
that,
that is.
That is the pergola, and see the steps going up to that?
right?
That's because there's a hill there, a slope.
And there's some reason that can't come off the deck? You wouldn't need the variance then, maybe.
I don't understand.
We'd have to see what this is. He's saying, why wouldn't the pergola be right here?
Oh, go right there.
Right next to the pool.
Well, then you're gonna be having the edge of the pool. I don't know if we could do that even.
The pergola would be the distance of the deck away from the pool in an east direction.
Do that? with the slope?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Let me get with the pool contractor to see if that's feasible. I don't know that it is because of the steps there.
You
I mean,
know what would bring that home to me is an elevation sketch looking to the north with the pool elevation, the deck elevation, and the pergola elevation.
Showing all element, okay.
Don't you just do it by hand if you can make a scale sketch.
Okay. I'll have the pool contractor do that.
Since you got to come back anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, we may be able to, it may be hard to see in photos. We'll figure out.
I
a
don't
way
think
to-
I can get you a photo, but I think I can have him do something with the narrative and maybe even, I don't know what he can do.
Okay.
I'm basically asking the same question that the chairman asked.
Okay.
Just curious, can you, looking out your window, that would be then the south window, where the pergola and pool are gonna go? Do you have a bedroom or some room? Would a photo or a couple of photos, would that, help us out to see that lay of the land and how it slopes? And
Sure, I think I can maybe do that.
yeah, I'm just trying to think of maybe some other ways to help us understand that, where the land slopes and the trees and maybe
Okay.
that would help us for the next time around. And we'll
Sure.
look as many photographs as you want to present to us.
Okay.
And then when we come back, April 1st, we'll see what the county planning board has to say. Then hopefully we can figure out what we can do for you for the variance.
So the process going forward is they are meeting on the 10th.
Right.
I don't know if we attend that or not, or how we know if they have questions. I'm not sure what that process is. And then we'll meet back with you on the 1st. Between the 10th and the 1st, is there some sort of communication between you and them or us and them, or?
When they have when their comments come back, I will
Oh,
send
you
them
lost
to the
her.
board and to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Michael's gone silent.
Oh, I think he has. Oh, there
Do
he
we
is.
lose Mike?
There we go.
There he is.
Was either one frozen or everyone else? Maybe it
Oh,
was
just you.
okay. So I missed about maybe 60 seconds of it. So I think your question
Kim
was,
just outlining Kim just finished outlining the next steps with the county,
okay.
in the questions and answers.
Okay. All right, good. So you know what's going on with the county and how all that works. And we will see you for the next meeting, that'd be April 1st. Go ahead,
I
Matt.
do have one question just to help me visualize it a little better. So you're expanding the patio, and then you're going to have steps that go up a little bit to, is it another, obviously the pergola is there, but under the pergola, is it stone pavers? Is it poured concrete? Is it?
It's gonna be either pavers or stamped concrete. We're not sure which yet. Yeah.
Okay. And so and I think what Fred and Mike were alluding to is why wouldn't you just take the pergola, right, and put it over the extension and not, forget the stairs, forget that. Why not just have the pergola over the new part of the patio that you have there? And so I was trying to figure out, is it, you just want more square footage from a patio perspective, and you got this hill that you're trying to figure out, what to do with, so you had to get creative and make the stairs and the landing in the pergola, or?
It was more of a safety issue to try to have the pergola away from the pool, so there's spacing right around the pool. That was the main reason for having the pergola farther away.
Okay. And is the pool above ground or in ground?
It'll be in ground.
Okay.
And
And so where's the fence going to go around? Is the the fence gonna be, is the pergola inside the fence? Is it outside of the fence?
Inside the fence, and the fencing is the perimeter of the backyard, not just the pool itself.
Okay. Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
Okay.
No.
All right, everyone else good on their questions? Awesome, very good. Linda, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that nice guy next to you.
This is Tim.
Hi, Tim. So hopefully, if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. But in the meantime, we'll wait to hear from the County Planning Board, and then we will see you on April 1st.
We'll see you then. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, next is the Delaney application. This would be the garage addition. And I see Tom.
Hi,
And next to you is Amanda.
that's correct.
Right,
Hi, welcome.
thank
All
you.
right, so you would like to put a garage addition, the 15 feet is required. You want a 2-car garage with a laundry extension. And I note there it's a bit of a pie-shaped lot. So if you would, you want to go through your application and tell us what it's about?
Sure. So we're new owners to the home. We closed on the house in October, and we're a little surprised when we purchased the home that the house does not have a laundry room in the house. The previous owner had a washer and dryer in one of their closets in one of the bedrooms, and we're using that as their laundry. We have pets and are accustomed to having, a typical laundry space, not inside a closet in a bedroom. So we're proposing to add a 10-foot by 14-foot laundry room it would be the north end of the house, halfway back. If you've seen the property and pictures of the property, there's a side entry door just past the garage doors. We have a side entry garage on the current home, and then there's a side entry door, and we're looking to start the laundry room just beyond that side entry door, and that would come off the side of the house by 10 feet, and then next to that add a 2-car garage. We currently have a 3-bay garage. We have 6 automobiles between our kids and ourselves, and currently don't have space to store the vehicles inside, and looking to accommodate storage for the automobiles that we have in the house, along with the laundry room that we would like to add.
I'm sure you say currently it's a 3-bay garage?
There are 3 single doors off the as a side entry.
Okay. And you're looking to add 2 more with the laundry extension.
Correct. Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Donna, have any questions?
None at the moment.
Fred, any questions?
We bring up the map, shows the foundations and the wall lines. It's kind of my opinion that you overstepped with the laundry room. And now there's no, what is it, 3.5 feet now side. I wish I had it in front of me here, but what's the side setback with the, as drawn here?
So the back left corner of the garage would be within 3.5 feet to
That's what
the property line.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I think that you haven't made any effort to reduce the request for the variance down to really a small setback. And my question is, isn't there some way you could incorporate either a lesser than 10 feet extension or partially put the laundry room in one of the 3 bays or something to reduce that?
Then that defeats the purpose of, we have 6 automobiles and currently have a 3-bay and looking to add a 2-bay.
Well, I kind of don't know how long the garage is, but do they fill the end bay there, the car fill it right up? So it.
Well, I also have a Cub Cadet with a snowplow on the front of it that's currently sitting underneath the deck in my backyard because I can't fit it in the garage. So there, I mean, as far, I mean, we have our average household goods that also are stored in the garage.
Well, one good thing is the neighbor on that side is further away.
Yeah, there's
So,
from the back corner of the garage to the corner of his house, it would be 44 feet in distance.
yeah,
Which, and if you've driven through the community and seen the house, there are several homes in the neighborhood that are much closer than 44 feet. Matter of fact, the neighbor immediately to my right,
You can see it on that map
you can see it on the map, is very close.
Sure.
or on the picture.
You couldn't do it on that side.
No,
Yeah. Well, that was my only comment. I think you're asking quite a bit is all. Won't belabor the topic. That's it.
Sarah, have any questions?
No, just I echo the same as what Fred is saying. A 3.5 feet distance from the side property line there is very substantial, and I think it's a little too close to the property lines.
Matt, questions?
Sure. What again were the dimensions of the addition?
the laundry room was 10 by 14, so 10 foot wide, 14 deep, and the garage portion being 22 by 24.
The garage portion, what do you mean by that?
The laundry room is,
You're gonna push the laundry room out by 14 feet, right?
now coming off the side of the house, the laundry room would be 10 feet in
10 feet,
width.
okay.
And then the garage width is 22 feet.
Okay. And so the 10 feet, of course, has got to includes the overhang and includes quite a bit, right? So you're not going to get 10 feet inside, right? I mean, you're going to end up with probably something like 8 or 9, which to me is reasonable. I don't think the 10 by 14 gets small very quickly.
Yeah, it's not
from the exterior of the house. So that's just the point I was trying to make.
Well, I don't know about that. The washer, there's a counter and a washer and a dryer and a third thing across the 10 feet. If they were turned around to the longer wall, it would save some space. The 10 could reduce, and the roof line won't become a factor with this because it's sort of like a breezeway. There's a building on each side, and it would be the foundation line. This 10 feet.
You all set, Matt, for now?
Yeah, I'm all set for now.
All right. Couple of current concerns I have, and I understand, first floor laundry is important. We're not gonna force you into saying, well, you gotta have your laundry in the basement or some other place. The whole idea, I think, is first floor laundries are nice. But I'm not sure if Matt was alluding to it or not, but a 10 by 14 space, well, if he's not alluding to it, that's a decent sized laundry room.
Yeah, and I should point out, it's not just being used as a laundry. The bank is a closet cabinets for storage. So it's not just a laundry room itself. It's also a mudroom entry part into the home. So our jackets and boots and other items that are used are going to be stored in that area.
And what I was getting at, Mike, was my laundry room is about half that size, and I wish it were twice as big. So maybe I feel
right,
for the applicant.
Mine's half that size, and we're doing all right with it. Now, we downsized, and for what it's worth, had a blended family. I had 3 kids, she had 3 kids, and we had cars around. And some of the ways that we solved the problem is because of the lot restrictions we were under, we had a 3-car garage, but one of those bays was piggyback behind it, so that we could store our snow blower and bikes and other cars in the driveway, but because we couldn't go any wider, but we can go a little bit deeper. I'm just concerned that you are completely maxing out this property and well beyond, if there were a couple of feet to get closer to the lot line, you're going to be 3.5 feet to the property line. Should I understand that right?
Correct.
And I think probably that's to the foundation.
Correct.
Or you got to count the eaves too.
Is there any opportunity to go out the back a little bit?
It's a walkout basement site. So the topography on the side of the house, when you stop at the current where the driveway ends currently, that drops off by 10 feet.
Well, that's not a showstopper. It's an inconvenience, but it's not a showstopper.
How pushing it further back? I get closer to the line because it's a reverse pie.
Well, not if it's behind the house. More laundry room behind the garage, and not have have an entry for the boots and stuff between the existing house and the garage, and then the laundry room to the rear.
So there's
not taking frontage.
How would you connect the laundry room to the current house? You'd have to go out of your house through the garage to get to your laundry room? That makes no sense.
Well, let me ask this, Tom. I see that the width of it is 10 feet. Is that right? That attaches to the garage?
Yes.
Is it possible to make that, just throwing a number, just the possibilities, if you make it 8 feet wide and make it 2 feet or 4 feet deeper to get you that, still the same square footage or maybe even more, but without being so close to that lot line? Has that been considered at all?
So if I'm understanding, if I were to reduce the overall width of the combined garage and laundry room by 2 feet, that's something that would be more appealing to the town?
Well, what I'm trying to figure out is, and I think you've heard, are there other feasible methods to help you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish here?
Yeah, I would be willing to say, I would look at taking 2 feet off of the width of the garage to narrow that from 22 wide to 20, because I think because of our pets, that's where we're hoping to keep our pets in the house when we're not at home, with the cabinets that we want to build in there for our clothing and boots and those materials. In the washer and dryer are 29 inches deep. So, you're close to 3 feet once you get your pipes and and vents behind the washer and dryer coming off a wall. So taking up 3 feet off of that width and having 2 foot of width of cabinets on the other side, you're not really getting the functionality that we're looking to try to get out of that wall. I'd be more willing to lose 2 feet in width off the garage and take that down to a 20-foot wide and still be able to get the cars in there. It's going to make it a little tighter to open the doors while both are in there, but it's still doable.
Right, because your proposed addition, Harvey, that's a secondary garage. Is that fair to say? That's not your primary garage, right?
Correct.
And so I'm looking at your 3-bay garage. I don't see any dimensions to it, but it appears to be deep and should be deep enough not only for vehicles, but also for snow blowers or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, yes, that's true. We have that, our bikes and snow blowers in there now.
All right, so if I hear you, and I'm not speaking for the entire board, but it's possible that you'd consider reducing, instead of a 22-foot wide garage going down to 20 feet, and you could still accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, getting the vehicles parked in there, as well as not encroaching or really trying to redesign that laundry room.
Correct.
All right.
Well, if there's a 1 foot overhang, we should be actually talking about a 2.5 foot side setback.
Well, if it's if it's reduced to a 20-foot wide garage, and then considering the eave, I might need to do the math on this. So that would be, see, 5.5. I'm not sure how. You don't know what your eaves are, do we? On the.
Yeah, I think if we just let the applicant know, we measure from the farthest thing that sticks out from the house, right? So whether it's the eave or the.
It's a 1 foot eave, so you're talking 4.5 feet then from the eave. The foundation would be 5.5 feet off the property line, but the eave would be 4.5 feet with a 12-inch overhang.
So as proposed, as the design has it, that eave would be almost on that property line. If you take 2 feet, you're shaking your head no.
The eve would be is a 1 foot overhang off of the foundation wall.
Okay. So you'd be 2 feet, 2.5 feet to the property line.
With the 22 foot garage.
As proposed, it would be 3.5 feet, right? Or I'm sorry, 2.5 feet. Yeah, it's 3.5 feet currently.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Took 2 feet off.
If you take it down to 20 feet, now you're 5.5 feet to the property line, and then 1 foot is going to make it about 4.5 feet with the eave to the property line.
Correct.
And I know what you're trying to do. I'd have a better comfort level, at least having that 4.5 feet instead of you being 1 to 2 feet on that property line with the eave. All right, Matt, what do you think about that?
No, I think that's a good compromise. I'm okay with it. I was trying to get at earlier, although I don't think the words are coming out right now that I've finally fully visualized what's going on. I think having something as close to 5 as humanly possible would be optimal. But
Well,
I'm good with what you just talked about.
A foot could come out of the laundry room.
Well, I'm not here to architect the laundry room or anything to that point. I just want to make sure that the buffer between, whatever they're going to put there, whether it's a garage or laundry room or a solarium, has enough buffer between that and the property line of the neighbors. And so now that we know it could potentially be about 4 with the overhang, that kind of gives you the 5 feet from the foundation to the property line, and I'm more comfortable with that.
Donna, what do you think?
Exactly what Matt's saying. Was there any public comment?
We're getting there. Hold
Okay,
that thought a
Okay.
second.
thank you. Nope, I'm in the same thought Matt is. I'm with the 5, I'm close to 5, I'm good.
Sarah, questions, concerns, comments?
If it were 5, then I would be okay. And that's with the overhang. That's all I have.
Okay, I'm just trying to think how that can be. Susie, do we have any comments? Public comments?
No, there are no comments.
The Delaney's did have a letter submitted from 81 Bark and Dune, the Hamburgs, and they have no objections.
Okay.
Mike, if I could,
Yes, go ahead.
just a suggestion. I don't know if you either slid the garage towards the front of the house or shortened the garage, the 24-foot section, you'd gain another, I mean, depending on how far you slid it, because it's a reverse pie, you'd end up gaining a little bit more there too. Just a
Yeah,
thought.
but sliding it forward is really not an option because then it blocks the side entry door that's currently on the house, which is the entry.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how far that was, so
Yeah.
just a thought.
I mean, as the property is a reverse pie, if we were to cut length off the depth of the garage, that would increase the side dimensions. So, if I had to cut it to 23 feet to pick up, I don't, the engineer will have to plot it out and see what I'm able to pick up on that distance because the property goes back inward. And if I'm bringing that garage forward, I'm going to pick up some inches by reducing the depth of the garage.
All right. I'm sensing the board. I think we're on the same page, and I appreciate your willingness to make this fit by shaving some of the width of the garage off. Let me ask you this. Do you think it's possible that you can make this work if the board granted the variance with however you're going to put it in there with 5 feet?
5 feet total from the foundation wall or from the overhang?
From the eave. So from the overhang to the property line, however you want to do it. If you want to take it off the garage or take a half a foot off the laundry, however you want to do it, you can do it, but 5 feet, I think would work with the entire board.
Yeah, I'll obviously have to, adjust with my engineer to get that in there, and with him plotting it out, maybe it's I take a half a foot off the depth or whatever it is. We'll work with the town and accommodate that change to get that back corner at 5 feet, because it's only the back left corner that's going to come into play. Because once you come forward, I'm picking up space because it's a little bit wider. So as long as I can get that back corner to 5 feet, whatever that dimension is, in our scenario, I think we'll look to probably shorten the depth of the garage because the laundry room size is extremely important for what we're trying to accommodate. And like you said, I have storage space in the current garage. So it's not like I just need to get 2 cars in that garage. I don't really need additional storage space for other items. So by shortening it up and shorten the width, I can accommodate the town's request.
All right, so we can do it 2 ways. It's certainly up to you. We could move forward going through the criteria and have the variance be 5 feet, or if you want us to circle back and wait for you to talk to your architect, engineer, designer, so if that can work, we certainly be willing to do that.
Yeah, I know it can work. It's just going to be a matter of shortening it up. So that's I don't need to wait.
All right, good. Anyone else have any other comments, concerns before we press forward with the criteria? Okay. Did I hear anyone? No. All right. Let's go through the criteria. First, an undesirable change would not be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties created by the granting of the area variance. And these conditions are going to be premised on the variance being granted for a 5 foot, which includes the overhang. Again, it would not produce, an undesirable change would not be producing the character of the neighborhood. Um, the applicant has presented drawings and is willing to reduce the size of the proposed 2-car garage to accommodate a maximum of 5 feet with the overhang eave. Anyone want to add anything else to the first criteria? Second, the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. As the applicant pointed out, part of the problem was when they purchased the house, there was no laundry room, so they're adding a laundry room, and also since they have 6 vehicles that they'd like to park them in the garage, and I think that would also apply to the character of the neighborhood. Having vehicles inside, I think, is far better off than outside in the driveway. Anyone want to add anything else to the
I think
second
it
criteria?
might be 5 vehicles, not 6.
Did you say 6 vehicles or 5, Tom?
We have 6. I currently, so I have to turn one sideways in the deep garage that we have. So I can get 4 vehicles in that main garage attached to the house. And then the other 2 would go in the other 2 bay.
Okay. All right. That answer that, Fred?
Yep.
Good. The third, the requested area variance is substantial. 15 feet is required, and they are, we're now looking for 5 feet. Fourth, the proposed variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical and environmental conditions of the neighborhood or district. I'm not hearing anything that would create a environmental or physical condition problem in that district or neighborhood. Fifth, the alleged difficulty is self-created. The condition is relevant to the decision of the board, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance. Anyone want to add any other pieces to the criteria or conditions to the variance for 5 feet, which includes the overhang eave? We're all good? All right, we'd entertain a motion for approval.
I make the motion, we approve it as read.
Thank you, Fred. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Donna. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thanks so much, Tom. And Amanda, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate the board's time. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Give me 1 second. Yes. Okay. Paul, how are you?
Good to see you, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Good. Hopefully everyone's staying safe.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting these meetings in this format.
You're welcome.
Keeping things moving.
Good. I see. Emily, you are also presenting here for this case?
Yes. I'm the owner of Brooks and Harlow Salon. Thank you guys for your time.
Okay. All right. Very good. So there is a sign proposal. The applicant's looking for a little more than 90 square feet when the code allows 31.25 square feet, and it has to do with the linear frontage. Okay. So, Paul, I think you know the drill. So why don't you, are you making the application?
Yeah, I'll get it started, Mike, and then let Emily weigh in where she feels, the request is warranted. So, on behalf of the Marco family, Victor, Brooks and Harlow, Emily's joining me tonight. She just introduced herself. We're currently the landlord for Brooks and Harlow. They're in the building at 7375 State Route 96. They share space with the Elizabeth Wendy Mammography Clinic and the Wendy Marshall dental office. So we're very fortunate that Emily's decided to grow her business. She's basically doubling in size. She's been very successful, and she's chosen to stay with us and grow within the plaza. She's taking a currently vacant space that is represented here in this photo. She's going to be occupying approximately 2,200 square feet adjacent to Victor Vet Care. The application and the request is for signage in excess of that, which is allowed by code. Her space measures approximately 34 feet wide. So she would be allowed 1 square foot per lineal foot of frontage. As we looked at the compliance with code, the copy of the font tends to get very small when she tries to represent the business Brooks and Harlow Salon on two lines. The font would actually be approximately 15.5 inches high for the main font and 12.4 inches high for the secondary font. So almost about half of the copy height that Victor Vet Care has adjacent to her. And that's kind of when she wanted to move in this space and had the idea of growing her business and having a more prominent location, she was looking to have her signage represent the investment that she's making in the business. And we had prepared an exhibit that showed how the copy would read on that architectural feature that is the center element of the plaza. And it's dwarfed. It's very, very small. I didn't submit that exhibit. I have it and could screen share it if that was something that you were interested in seeing. But we ultimately chose to match the font height for Victor Vet Care, which is a 25-inch font. And the main copy in the exhibit that you see before you is the upper line is a 25-inch font and the lower line is a 20-inch font. And as you know, the allowable or the square footage is measured by that rectangle around the sign. So that's what brings us to that 90 square feet. Understand it's a significant increase, but when we look at how does it present on the building and how does it present on that architectural feature that is going to be the backdrop for this sign, we really feel that the Brooks and Harlow copy on the two lines fits well within that feature. We are going to be presenting, actually I'm submitting at the end of this week, facade renovations for this building. We are going to be redoing the facades to the entire frontage of the plaza. And one of the features that we're going to redo is the central element, that backdrop where Emily's sign, where Brooks and Harlow will be displayed, is going to stay relatively the same. We're just going to turn the gable the existing three-sided hip roof into a gable end, so that this feature has a little bit more of a modern look to it. We're getting rid of the green standing seam and we're going to do a black or a dark brown standing seam roof, and then redo the facades on the right and left side. So we know that this sign will fit well with the future ultimate disposition of this, but as we rendered this in here, I just want to make that point that, you know, beyond Emily's investment into this space, we're investing significantly in redoing the facade of this building, which we're pretty excited about doing here in the near future.
All right, thanks, Paul. Let me ask you this before I turn it over to the board for questions. The proposed sign is going to replace the current sign of Fisher's Landing, is that right?
So I have removed that. When we redo the gable end, we are going to propose putting Fisher's Landing up higher into that gable end, so it will be well above the Brooks and Harlow Salon sign. So we do want to keep Fisher's Landing as a sign feature on this building.
All right. I'm looking currently, I'm not paying attention. I'm have another screen and I'm looking at the other the signs that are in that plaza. And there's some notable ones that maybe we can address. I know you were pointing to the, I think the Victor Vet
Yep.
for comparison. But I think a comparable sign would be the Enterprise Rent-A-Car. The frontage, is it fair to say that's about 30, 35 feet of frontage?
I could get you that figure, Mike. I think Enterprise is a little bit narrower than Emily's space. And certainly, you know, Enterprise benefits from brand recognition and you know, national advertising. So their sign just simply Enterprise. If Emily's business was so fortunate as to be nationally recognized, maybe it could be BHS and be a signature logo. But you know, given that she's more of a local presence, we're trying to help support the recognition and the identity of this, that she's a signature tenant to this plaza.
Well, then let's go left to right then. Lattimore Physical Therapy.
Yep.
The size of that sign that they have is much smaller than what you're asking for. And they have, I didn't count spaces, but I think the letters there are 26, 27 letters. And they seem to make it work, and they have more frontage.
Yep, they're and again, I can get you the figures on them. They, again, another very large franchise with offices throughout, you know, Ontario County, Monroe County, another tenant that's fortunate enough to have a lot more advertising and media splash than what we're able to do with some of
And I
our
can look at Sherwin-Williams and Monroe, and I think, you know, and if not, we'll put it on the record. The town, the board, I think, is sensitive to over signage, especially on 96. If we start allowing bigger letters, bigger signage, because people can't find the location, we're going to have a signage problem up and down 96. And I don't think that's the theme, the plan for the town. And I think the code reflects that, to try and minimize signage that goes up and down 96. So, and I think, you know, it's got to go to the county planning board. But as I look at that plaza in general, the size of the letters, I think, are different. And the ask of what you have is more than 3 times what's permitted. And I have a concern on the overall sign, especially if you're going to put Fisher's Landing and incorporate on that same facade there, along with, and I'm all for business, you know, but just because she's not a national chain yet, hope to be someday, and that's all great. But I think signage needs to be taken very carefully and with some scrutiny.
Sure, and understand that. And you know, when Emily first looked at signage, first I should also state the sign that we're proposing. There'll be individually mounted letters that won't be on a raceway or any other feature to the sign. The proposed signage would be reverse illuminated, so it would actually be kind of backlit, where when we talk about signs, Mike, reverse illumination means that at night you see the negative of the Brooks and Harlow. It would be during the day it'd be a black sign. At night you'd see that halo illumination around it, so you get the negative illumination.
And I think, you know, too, that a variance that's granted runs with the land. So I'm sure you and Emily, you're hoping that it'd be there a long time, but if sometime that you grow your business and that business, the square footage is too small for you, well, the new tenant is going to be reaping the benefits of a 90-foot square foot sign. And I think the town would have some concerns over that.
Yeah, I've always looked at that, Mike, as the variance runs with the particular sign. And I've I wish I could take that interpretation in some of the other towns that I present applications in front of, because I know in Brighton and other towns, if I tried to take that position, they'd say, no, it went with that particular sign, that particular application. But, you know, certainly we try to look at them on a case by case basis. How, you know, what is the aesthetics of the sign? How does it fit with the backdrop for which it's going to be presented on? I know we can't take action tonight, so maybe, you know, what I can do while this is going to county planning, we can send in the renderings where we have shown what's allowed by code, which would be that 34 square feet. And it really just gets lost in that field for which the sign is going to be placed. And then I'll also have the facade renovation renderings done that show how we're going to incorporate Fisher's Landing into the gable end when we do the improvements. We're gonna really do a nice job bringing this building into a little bit more current architecture and a little bit more relevant theme.
That would be helpful. Matt, you have any questions?
Not necessarily. I echo everything that you said. You know, I think it's a definite improvement for the applicant moving into the new location. I think it's a more visible space. Obviously, it's larger. She's done obviously extremely well in the location she was at before. I can't even can even comment about the size of your previous sign on the business that you outgrew. It can't be anywhere near 35 square feet.
Oh, it's not, but I mean, if this helps at all, if it's okay if I show this, I have that.
Sure.
That rendering of the sign at 34 square feet, and it seems to get lost. And my concern is, as a new, you know, as a business, as a small business that's growing, I know that, you know, cars are driving by that plaza at 50 miles an hour. And when I look at the sign, you know, I just feel like it's very hard to see. And it's, as a small business, it's so important that I'm visible so that people know that I'm there. And
you bet. And I think the intent of the code is to obviously come up with a formula that makes it fair for everybody. One thing that what you showed didn't show was the Fisher's Landing logo that's also going to be above that. And I think it's going to be wise to also identify with being in Fisher's Landing. Obviously, there's, you know, the draw from people flying by on 96. Yes, they may see it, they may catch a glimpse of it, but most of the draw, especially for the other businesses there, and just the nature of how business is conducted today, is your online presence, your word of mouth, and a lot of other things that, in the quality of your product, which obviously is superior because you're growing. So I think there's more than just the size of the sign. We've had of course, you can imagine we get a lot of businesses that come in front of us, and they all want their signs to be 2, 3, 4, 5 times larger than what the code allows. If there is some kind of unique circumstance here, you know, we're open-minded to it. But I think just by saying, geez, you know, because of the number of letters I have in my logo or the orientation of it, you're here as part of a business success story, right? Not as a, you know, nobody can find my business. I've got this 34 square foot sign. It hasn't worked for me for the last 2 years. I need it to be bigger, and here's some feedback from the community and the public. And here's the, you know, the financials that are showing my business isn't doing very well. You're in the exact opposite situation, where it's great that you're a growth story. I too would like to see the full rendering of where Fisher's Landing is going to be, how big that would be, your sign, you know, compliant to the code, and you know, make a decision based on that. But I just wanted to give, you know, you some feedback on kind of what my opinion was on that. We see a lot of this, and I don't think most of those businesses on 96, there's very few of them that rely on people flying by on 96 to know that they're there. But you obviously want to know you know, from a marketing perspective, you know, utilizing Fisher's Landing, utilizing, you know, online media to get people there is critical too. So.
Right. I mean, even if it were a little bigger, I think, and I'm not like here saying that I'm special and I deserve an exception to the rule. And I totally understand why you guys have these codes in place. When I look at this rendering, I feel like in particular, the background ratio compared to the lettering in front of it is significantly different from the neighboring tenants. And it seems disproportionate, and it doesn't have to be that 90 something square foot sign. That was just something that we drew up that seemed more proportionate for the size of the background. But I'm willing to definitely work with that and create something that works for both the town and for me.
Sure. I think I can speak as one board member. I'm open to seeing other alternatives that you're willing to put forth. But I think it's essential for us to see the big picture of, okay, where's the Fisher's Landing sign and the size of that in reference to your sign as well. Because trust me, if your sign is twice the size that it should be, then there's going to be a line of people that also want the same thing. And I hope you can also understand that too. But I'm open to suggestions.
So Matt, you touched on something that triggers a thought here, that I hope I'm not hearing that the reason why this sign is being proposed as large as it is because there's sufficient facade to put the sign there. So to put a little further, that I know it's a bit of ifs and buts. If you were leasing the space that Enterprise is in, I don't think you'd be asking for a 90-foot square sign. It wouldn't fit in there. It would be enormous, right? So just because there's enough space there doesn't mean that a sign should go there. And the other thought that I had is, I feel a little embarrassed, but I don't get my nails done, so I don't know, but I'm going to assume your business is run mostly by appointment. Is that right?
Correct.
So the need, if you will, to have people see your sign is going up and down 96, I don't think it is quite there. Once you have that clientele built up and a solid clientele, once they've been to your place once, I don't necessarily think they're necessarily looking at the sign. And those clientele, that the clients you already have, I think like what Matt was alluding to is you're probably building your business not by the signage, but by the customers and clients that you have, and then spreading the word and saying, hey, this is a good place to go, and your appointment book is filled up. Is that kind of a fair way to put how your business is run?
Yeah, for the most part, it's still nice to have that presence and know that my sign is visible when someone's driving by, to know that to have it so that people know that there's a salon there. I mean, I know that a lot of my business is based on word of mouth and our online presence, but we do get people even today that have come in just by driving by, or they go to the dentist next door, and it's just, I guess when we made the rendering with the sign that was within the allotted square footage, it seems so incredibly small compared to the other signs next to it.
Okay. I don't want to take up too much more time. Sarah, you have any
No.
questions? You're all
No, I
set?
don't. Yep.
Donna, any questions?
Nope, I'm all set.
Good, thanks. Fred, any questions?
Well, there's so much room to work on the front of this. It's a real luxury compared to most of the businesses. I think you should come back with the Fisher Landing sign, their new design, and as small of a lettering as you think might work. Okay, that's all.
Paul, anything else you want to add? Comments?
No, I appreciate the feedback. We knew that tonight was an opportunity to gauge the reaction to the application. I've shared with Emily, I know what the county referral is going to come back as they do with every signage application. It's going to come back as a denial, recommendation of denial. That's of no shock to me, and I informed Emily of that. But we want to find a balance, I think is what I'd like to, and I would have submitted the elevations for this application, but then you would have seen them before anyone else in the town. So Those will be going in the end of this week. And then next time that we meet with you folks, I'll have some additional materials that that we can review. And as I think Matt was suggesting, and Fred, see if we can find a balance, something that Emily thinks is going to meet her needs and that is less than what we're showing you here tonight.
When does the lease start?
As soon as we're done with her construction, don't put me under too much pressure, Mike.
I don't, are we April, May, about?
Yeah, she's looking to take occupancy this month, the month of March. So she knows that, you know, we're going to have some type of temporary banner. And then ultimately look to get the permanent signage installed once we conclude the request with you folks.
Okay. I think we're good. Before we let you go, anyone else before we let this applicant go for today? Great. Okay. Thanks so much for your time. We will circle back and see you on April 1st.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
You too. Stay
Thank
well.
you, you too.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Matt, I like your new ghost format that you have here.
My ghost format, yeah. I've been sitting here in my car, exactly where I don't want to be, but
Oh, you're in the car? Oh,
yeah. It's there you go. I'm not driving. I haven't been driving.
All right. I would like to make a suggestion now that I hear that Donna has been, and I think Sarah too, been going to training sessions. I won't put you on the spot tonight, but I think it's valuable that if you share with something, a point or two that you learned during your training, so that we all could benefit from it. So maybe at the next meeting, if you could take a couple of notes, Donna, and same thing, Sarah, did you say you've gone to them or you are going to them?
I've gone to 2.
Okay.
But I use them for work. So fortunately I'm able to use them for the board as well.
Awesome. So if there's something you'd like to share, again, it doesn't have to be anything lengthy. I'm not looking for a PowerPoint, but a point or two.
You're in trouble if you want a PowerPoint from
No,
me.
no. But we could all benefit if there's, gee, this was interesting and help us as a whole. I think that would be very beneficial for the board. So
Kim sent it to me, and I can tell you they're during lunchtime from 12 to 1. And they're done by New York State. So, but they have a different group do them each time, but there's a 6 series thing.
no, not, I know about them. What I'm looking for is substance.
Something that we, okay.
You know, if there was a, gee, this was interesting, this was beneficial, and just a little point or two that we could all ride on your coattails with the knowledge you can learn. Okay.
I can handle that.
Awesome. Very good. Anyone else have anything else they want to chat about or discuss before we entertain a motion to adjourn? All right. A motion to adjourn. A second.
I'll second it.
Very good. All in favor?
Bye.
No opposition. Great. Have